This is KGW News at Sunrise.
I have met them several times, because they were neighbors of my son. And they were nice people, so I have no clue as to what might have happened.
This morning, people in Boring are trying to understand the circumstances leading up to 3 people and a dog ending up dead. We first told you about it during our Sunrise show yesterday. Coming up, what we know so far.
Also this morning, we are live at the airport as the countdown to Christmas winds down and holiday travel plans ramp up. We'll have an update on early morning arrivals and departures as one of the busiest days of the year at the airport gets underway.
And in our KGW Sunrise poll on X this morning, we are talking about sleep, something I think all of us would like more of. But we are asking this question: would you sleep in a separate bed or a separate room from your partner? You can answer right now online. That's coming up at 5:15. We're going to be delving into the old idea that has some new legs and the potential benefits. Chris, right now 67% says yes. They say yes.
I love the bottom part that says we already do.
Right, I was going to say,
we have 2 little ones that go in and out of each room, and so we take turns. You know how it works.
We could have asked it that way. Do you already sleep in a separate bed? Because a lot of people seem to be going that way, Rob.
And the other problem is sometimes, this is not meant to be sexist, but sometimes, sometimes your wife gets the better. Sometimes your wife gets the better deal. Sometimes your wife gets the fancy car, the husband gets the not so fancy car.
Director Megan was like, weather.
So my point is, would the wife get the fancy bed? Now we get stuck with the old crummy bed. That's my point, all right?
Okay.
Here's a look. Here's a look at the fog map out there. Hillsboro, half a mile visibility. Troutdale is reporting some fog. The east winds have been 15 or less at times out there. We need the east winds out of Troutdale to guarantee developing sunshine into Portland during the day. We also have fog at the coast, and there's a fog advisory coast and valley today up through the noon hour. Here's the Wells Fargo building. You can see the low cloud ribbons kind of starting to increase, 35, so it's chilly out there in spots. 50 degrees at noon. It looks like some areas will clear up and many areas may not today, and if you don't, you won't be 50. 46 in Portland at 5 p.m. Here's Chris.
All right, I have found the fog. Check this out. It's really easy to see right now over the interstate bridge. This is I-5 at SR 14. The cars slip in there southward, and then they kind of disappear into the foggy, I was going to say foggy abyss. I don't want to say that, but I just did. Anyway, back to the east side. Interstate 84 out near 82nd Avenue. That looks good. Highway 26 near 217. That looks good as well. Again, fog extends down into the valley. This is I-5 near Woodburn. We'll take you down towards Albany. Foggy travel up and down the I-5 corridor this morning. But so far, no crashes or unexpected delays, guys.
Thanks for the update, Chris. And we also have an update to an early morning shooting that we told you about yesterday on Sunrise. We now know that 2 people and a dog were shot and killed at a home in East Multnomah County.
And then hours later, after a brief chase in Clackamas County, deputies found another person dead in a van, and investigators believe that both of these incidents are connected. Here's KGW's Catherine Cook with more.
Investigators tell us the 2 people killed and the suspect knew each other. For those who live here on Cottrell Road, they say it's been an incredibly upsetting day as they try to understand what happened. Just before 4 a.m. Wednesday, Multnomah County Sheriff's deputies responded to a shooting at a home on Southeast Cottrell Road near Carpenter Lane in Boring. There, investigators say they found a man, woman, and a dog all dead from gunshot wounds. For about 2 hours, neighbors were warned by Reverse 911 to shelter in place as deputies launched their investigation.
It's not a good thing.
Pete Summers lives on Cottrell Road. He says his son does too, right next door to where the victims lived.
I have met them several times, because they were neighbors of my son. And they were nice people, so I have no clue as to what might have happened.
By 8 a.m., a break in the case in Clackamas. Sheriff's deputies there tried to pull over a white van for a traffic violation. Authorities say the driver refused, but eventually stopped near Southeast 131st Drive and Comanche Court. Then, deputies say they heard a gunshot inside the van. They later found the driver dead inside. Investigators say the man was involved in the early morning shooting and knew both victims. Back in Boring,
You're always worried about your kids,
Pete is thankful his son is okay, and his heart is with the victims' families.
Too bad that it happened. From what I know, they were nice people.
Sheriff's officials say they won't be releasing any more information for now, including the names of those killed. They say they're holding off until autopsies are complete. In Boring, Catherine Cook, KGW News.
The Multnomah County Sheriff's Office is also investigating a shooting in Troutdale that left one woman hurt. Just after 9 o'clock last night, deputies got a call about a shooting near a business on Southwest 257th Drive and Southeast Stark. That's where they found the woman, who was taken to the hospital because of her injuries, but we're still waiting to get an update on her condition. Anyone with information about this shooting is asked to contact the Sheriff's Office.
Also this morning, westbound lanes of SR 14 just reopened in the last hour or so following a deadly crash involving a wrong-way driver. It happened around 10:30 last night, about a mile west of I-205. Washington State Patrol says 4 cars were involved. 1 person was killed and 2 people were taken to the hospital with critical injuries. And today, a new bill is on President Joe Biden's desk that will restore the right of the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde to pursue land claims and compensation. It corrects a legislative mistake from back in 1994 that inadvertently restricted those rights.
This is just a wonderful event, a time in history where justice has prevailed. It is one of the most significant bills that have been passed concerning the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde.
Oregon U.S. Representative Andrea Salinas and Senator Jeff Merkley both pushed for the bill.
Our next stop this morning here on Sunrise is Portland International Airport. Now, you might want to pack some extra patience if you're heading to the airport today, because it is expected to be one of the busiest days of the year at the airport.
Yeah, and our Devin Haskins is not traveling today, but he is live for us at PDX this morning. Devin, how are things looking out there?
Things are looking pretty good. Actually, taking a look at the big board there, there's no cancellations, which is exactly what you want to see if holiday traveling is in your forecast for today. So we're in the morning, obviously, right now, and TSA says mornings are among the busiest times. You can see the security line, people starting to get into it. And that really starts to stack up in these early morning hours as people try and get a jump on those long flights early on in the day. And they say when you get here, plan to wait in those long lines. Agents say today and tomorrow are going to be packed with travelers. PDX says about 50,000 travelers are predicted to come through the airport today and then again tomorrow. And if you're hitting the roads, AAA says they expect more than 1 million people to drive to their destination this holiday season. They say the peak travel time for driving expected to be December 23rd. So that's this Saturday. Now, if we're talking planes and automobiles, we might as well do the old Steve Martin, John Candy, planes, trains, and automobiles. AAA says about 50,000 people expected to take, or 50,000 Oregonians expected to take either a train. We'll throw in cruises too this holiday season. So no matter where you go, you're going to bump shoulders with people because it's going to be busy.
Devin, you brought up an all-time favorite of mine. Actually, it's a tradition in our house still to watch planes, trains, and automobiles like the day before, the day of Thanksgiving. Anyways, Devin Haskins live at the airport for us today. We're going to check back in with him, maybe talk to some travelers as we roll into the 6 o'clock hour of sunrise. But now we get ready for Rodney's winter forecast.
Dun, dun, dun.
So later today, winter arrives.
Yeah, hard to believe.
However you want to phrase this, first day of winter, the last daylight hours of fall. Winter solstice for us is 7:27 this evening local time. Now the sunrise today 7:48, sunset 4:29, known as the shortest day of the year. We've actually been adding daylight, meaning the sun has been going down later for almost a week now.
Wow.
We're up to 4:29 sunset, but the sun will continue to come up later each morning for about another week. I think we go to 7:51. And right now it's 7:48 as the latest sun up.
So it's setting later, but it's also rising later still, is what you're telling me. It's setting later, and now it's still rising later. When do we get more?
Yeah, you're right. I guess that's correct.
When do we start going both ways?
Boy, this gets confusing. We have about another week to go before that starts happening.
Okay.
Both ways, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Jerome.
Right. I'm just trying to clear up my own head.
Well, you made me realize I couldn't even understand what I was saying. Here's Timberline, and boy, this is a problem, isn't it? Look at all the dirt, rock, bare spots. The temperature is a problem. Another night, well above freezing, 40 degrees. We'll get to how much snow is coming tomorrow in a moment. Here's the big picture. We are dry today, minus that we have some mist in dense fog banks. I had to turn on the windshield wipers driving across the interstate bridge this morning because of some mist with dense fog. There is a front coming in tomorrow. And here we are today. And today, we have the dense fog advisory until noon. It's one of those days where the weather modeling shows Salem never clears out, shows Eugene never clears out, shows maybe even parts of Washington County never clearing out today. East winds out of the gorge are fairly weak. We will need that to clear out Portland. We will need that to clear out parts of Clark County. And we also have a bit of increasing cloudiness coming in. Now, here we are tomorrow morning, right about 4 a.m., raining at the coast. The timeline on tomorrow's precipitation has actually sped up a little bit. Everything's coming in even a little bit earlier than what I showed you yesterday. Here's 7 in the morning. It's been raining for a while. And by 10 in the morning, now we've got snow over the Cascade Passes sticking. Again, the snow levels still look to be on track to get down as low as 2,500 feet. But the problem is, here's the back edge of the steady precip at 10 o'clock in the morning coming into Portland. And then by mid-afternoon, it's already starting to break up into scattered showers. And maybe even the snow rates are starting to diminish up in the Cascades. It eventually will go into decreasing showers during the evening, and then we'll get into a dry Saturday. I still think that we'll see at least 3 or 4 inches of snow, or at least 3 anyway, at Government Camp. This shows 4 inches at 5,000 feet on Mount Hood. And I've lowered Timberline. At one point I was going 8 to 9. Now I'm hoping Timberline can get 6 to 7 out of this. So again, inches of snow, not feet. This is looking a little foggier than it was. Wells Fargo camera at 35 out along the Columbia River. Again, the dense fog advisory from the coast to the valley until noon today. It's 40 up in Kelso, 42 out in the Dalles, so it's above freezing, well above freezing out through the gorge. There are some mid-30s out there in the Hood River Valley. 50 in Portland today. The rain to showers in the 40s tomorrow, a dry Saturday. There's a little system that brings us a period to some passing rain on Sunday after a dry start. And it's looking more and more like it will be a solid overcast on Christmas Day, a mild day with a high of 50, but rain likely during the day, and then a dry Tuesday and another shot of rain coming in on Wednesday. Mr. Carney.